As a quick precursor to this episode, I would love to invite you to attend the autumn edition of my in-person event, Dare Greatly in the Coaching Arena, which will be held on Friday the 8th of November in Barnes, southwest London. It's a 5-minute walk from Barnes Station, and there's also a free car parking place on site. So it's the best of both worlds. We will be preparing and planning for your best ever 2025, and you will leave with that vision and strategy for your next 12 months with a newfound sense of connection and focus. We will be harvesting your present and planting the seeds for a profitable and joyful 2025, allowing your business goals to bloom with ease. I'm very excited to be bringing the warmth of the season and all of those beautiful colours and everything we can learn from shedding what no longer serves us and preparing for spring. Embrace the seasons of change and join me on 8th of November to Dare Greatly in the Coaching Arena. Do not worry if you don't know anyone. I will ensure that you feel welcome from the moment you arrive until the moment you leave. I cannot wait to see you there, and grab the link now in the show notes. Hello and welcome to Women in the Coaching Arena podcast. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Lott, a business mentor and ICF accredited coach, and I help coaches to build brilliant businesses. I know that when you prepare to enter the arena, there is fear, self-doubt, comparison, anxiety, uncertainty. You can tend to armor up and protect yourself from vulnerability. In this podcast, I'll be sharing honest, not hype, practical and emotional tools to support you to make the difference that you're here for. Dare greatly, you belong in this arena. Hello, welcome to the 62nd episode of Women in the Coaching Arena. I am so glad you are here. Today I'm doing a slightly different exercise and it's quite harsh for me. So it's called No Excuses, Developing a Whatever It Takes mindset as a coach. Because when you start a business, it requires a lot of energy. And I think most people go into this work because they want more work-life balance. And that's why I went into this work. But it's a bit like paying into the value bank for a period. Before you get paid, you are going to need to pay into the value bank. So I genuinely believe for your first 2 years of business, it genuinely is a lot of hustle. You are going to have to learn a lot. You are going to have to give up things in order to have a successful business. So let's talk about some of the key mindsets that I definitely embrace in my business and my successful clients embrace as well. So firstly, the hustle mindset. And this doesn't mean burning yourself to the ground, but it does mean at some periods you are going to have to put in a lot of time and energy and then recuperate in the evenings, weekends, holidays, further along in your business when you have done the building and you do have more time to recuperate. It's a bit like what I consider a launch is a 6-week hugely time-consuming process of showing up every single day for 6 weeks, often multiple times a day, often going live several times per week. There are times in your business when you will want to launch and put that energy behind what you do. And it's really tough. And I hate the feeling that launching creates in the coaches I work with. But I also do believe that sometimes for things to really, really take off, we do need that intensified energy behind what we are doing in order to really, really build momentum. If you took part in my recent 5-day challenge, you will know what a launch looks like. So I showed up live for an hour every single day for 8 days on the trot. I emailed and sent messages several times a day. I showed up on social media several times a day for at least 6 weeks. I recorded this podcast every week. I blogged every week. I did a LinkedIn article every week. I spoke at live events. It was an intense period in my business, and I am glad it is done. I will not pretend that it was easy, but in order to get my Elevate program, which is what I was launching at the time, off the ground effectively, you usually need to do more than just put a post out saying, here's what I'm selling. So these periods of intense activity can drive your business forward rapidly. If you operate from a no excuses mentality, telling yourself, I can and I will, watch me, then you will achieve more than you could ever possibly have thought. I had a postcard saying, I can and I will, watch me, when I first started my business, and I was, in my eyes, rejected for an opportunity. And I remember thinking, I can and I will, watch me. And that drove me forward for 2 years at least in my business. I've actually completely forgotten about it until I'm reflecting on it now. So if you have people that are ridiculing you in your business or are not supporting you, then use that as a driver for good and a driver for you and your no excuses mentality of I can and I will, watch me. During these hustle periods, you get past perfectionism and paralysis analysis. The quicker you move, the more you do, the less you will get stuck. When people say they're stuck, it usually means they are not moving, they are not taking action, because you cannot be stuck if you are taking action of any sort, no matter how small. The name of the game is Imperfect Action. My first 5-day challenge actually was called Start Your Coaching Business Now, Get Perfect Later. So it just shows I have always taken this mentality in my business. Just get started any way you can in whatever you are doing and fix things later as needed. But moving is so much more important than getting things perfect. We will all need to balance this hustle with feminine receiving energy to prevent burnout. But if you know you are going to put a dedicated amount of energy for a dedicated period, maybe 30 or 60 days, that could otherwise take years, then know that there will be an end to it, and don't underestimate the power of embracing this period of hustle in your business. I know that there is a huge uproar against hustle, and I'm not normally one to suggest hustling, but I do want you to succeed, and therefore I do need you to know that it is going to require a lot more than most people realize. I have this program called Offer to Market in 30 days. I haven't launched it for a little while actually, but in that program we essentially do this process together. We go big for 30 days. For example, we suggest posting every day, Monday to Friday, for their business. And if you have never done that before, then it's going to take a lot of emotional energy from you to be able to do that thing. But that program has catapulted so many of my clients forward for years in their business. Kate Waterfall-Hill, who's a leadership coach who now posts on TikTok every day, started that consistent journey using TikTok as part of my 30-day sprint. I have another client who's joined my Business of Coaching program now, who did the sprint back in January, and she has posted every single day since then. And before that, she had completely gone offline and wasn't really doing anything. But there is that delicate balance, because you genuinely might need to be more emotionally able to do that. But at the same time, I think you develop that emotional capacity through doing it. So yes, it's a fine balance. I'm not saying work yourself into the ground, but I am saying if your business isn't working, then it might need more energy behind it, and have a think about how you can bring a no excuses, doing whatever it takes mentality into your business. The stop and start that I see a lot in this coaching world is not something you could do if you were in an employed job. So therefore, it's interesting why we are surprised when our business is not thriving all the time. And if we think about having a performance development review, what would that say? What would your manager say if you mentioned that you were feeling a bit down in the dumps and things weren't going fast enough, so you decided to forget the whole thing? I saw a post from Stephen Bartlett today, which talks about doing, say, 10,000 steps a day means you've done 7 marathons in a year. Tiny, tiny steps make huge results. So even if you can't put a full day into your business, think about how you can just take one tiny move forward, because like I say, you cannot stay stuck if you aren't moving forward. I'm super excited to have partnered with a daily accountability partner recently, and we talk every single evening at 5:30 p.m. We plan our next day and we check in at the end of the next day via phone to talk about how we got on. If we didn't do it, why didn't we do it? It's made such a difference, and something I was procrastinating on and pretending to myself that I was too busy and I didn't have the time for, I managed to get completely done in one day, which genuinely would have taken me probably 2 months if I hadn't committed that that was what I was going to do. So really do think about what is going to help you to actually do this thing. Back to your performance development review. When are you going to fit the work in that you're going to do in that period? Let's now talk about cash flow in your business, because I think there is this shame around getting money from anything other than coaching. And if that is your priority right now, then we need to think, how can you make the money to be able to continue your business and keep you afloat? That might mean copywriting, babysitting, freelancing, tutoring. There are so many other things that you could possibly do. It might be getting a part-time job, getting associate work. But whether it's your preference or not, at times in your business, when you need cash, you might have to do things that you don't particularly want to do and that isn't your absolute joy. It's a bit like my offer to market program. I don't enjoy running that program because it is very intense. It's launching. People get so emotional over launching, and I don't blame them. I get emotional over launching too. But occasionally I run it because I know that it will bring me income and people want it and people will get results. So I do that program despite the fact I love longer term programs. 6 months plus is my absolute favorite. I mean, a year plus would be even better. Whereas my 30-day program is just a 30-day program. And that's why we have to go so big in achieving a lot within that period. So like I said, it's not my absolute preference. It reminds me of my kids and cooking dinner. And I always say, great, it's not your preference, spaghetti bolognese, but that's what we're having tonight. That's what we're going to have to do because we need to eat something. So it's a bit the same in your business. Like, what can you do when you need to? Let's talk about resourcefulness now. As we know, as coaches, we are resourceful, whole, and good. So we can find ways to do things if you will allow yourself to open up and think about different marketing strategies, different partnerships, new offers. Successful coaches don't let limited resources, fear, or others' doubts become excuses or stop their progress. You can operate with a whatever it takes attitude to find solutions and make things happen. The more you can trust that there is always a path forward, even if you can't see it clearly, the more that inspiration will come. One of the tasks I did last week was a case study conversation with a client of mine who has taken a part-time job where she gets to do coaching 18-hour a week alongside her business. And she realized, because she had different home circumstances going on and she needed to get a mortgage for her home, and she is having so much fun. And she realized that everything she has done in my program is helping her with her ultimate goal of coaching people, doing work she loves and being paid for it. So please think about everything else that comes into your work, bearing in mind that the ICF state that 40% of a coach's income is generally from coaching. that there are 60% of other things that you can bring into your business. That might be training, that might be online courses, that might be a part-time role, that might be freelance work. There are so many options. So please don't get yourself stuck thinking, I've said I was going to do this coaching thing, so I only need to do this coaching thing. Allow yourself to be free and spacious and know that you can do whatever it takes to make this coaching business work if you open your mind enough to see the opportunities in front of you. So through a no excuses mentality, resourcefulness, and imperfect action, you will build your coaching business. And this combination allows you to create momentum quickly when you need to in your business, knowing that you can come back and provide all the self-care you need. But for periods of your business, there is going to be something that you are going to have to pay into the value bank in order to get paid in return. The path is simple, but not easy. It requires grit, resilience, consistently operating from a mindset of, I'll find a way, I trust myself. Don't think you're alone in this. Every single month, I think, my goodness, like, what if something goes horribly wrong? And then immediately, the other part of my mind pops in and says, don't worry, you will figure it out. And I think that's what we all just need to remember. We are resourceful, and should something happen, we will figure it out, because that's what we do. Let me know how you get on with this episode. I know it's not my usual stance, but I also know that sometimes we need some more tough love to ensure that our business thrives. And like I say at the end of every episode, trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Women in the Coaching Arena. I have a mass of free resources on my website, joannalottcoaching.com. That's Joanna with an A and Lott with 2 T's, joannalottcoaching.com. And I'll also put links in the show notes below. Let me know if you found this episode useful, share it with a friend, and leave me a review, and I will personally thank you for that. Remember to trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Get into the arena, dare greatly, and try.